of the World Baseball Classic.
Shohei Ohtani, 1 of 1.
¡Siéntate! Lo retrata sin sonrisa.
God! George has arrived. Good night now. Santa Maria. High and deep and gone.
World Baseball Classic. You get it all.
Nights falling in Houston. Game 2 in Pool B on this Sunday. Brazil and Mexico. And the Mexican fans have been out in force. Jonathan Aranda. Randy Arozarena. And that stocky backstop who flat out can hit Alejandro Kirk. Standings, Pool B. Italy's 2-0. United States 2-0. Mexico plays those two in the next few days, but tonight they have to take care of business against Brazil. Hi, everybody. I'm Rich Waltz, along with Dan Plesac. John Morosi joins us shortly. At the start of this tournament, everybody said Mexico could get to Miami. Well, they got to Miami last year. They were 3 outs away from the championship game, and they're better this year.
Yeah, 2023 Team Mexico was really good. They're more athletic, more star power, and they have more pop in this lineup. Benji Hill thinks this team has a chance to do a lot of damage in the WBC.
Brazil showed a little pop, and they may have a star in the making. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Lucas Ramirez, and that is Manny's kid, and he can play.
He can flat out play. Hit 2 home runs in game 1. Not as big a built guy, but he's a lot younger at this stage than Manny Ramirez was, but he has some thunder in his bat.
2 home runs against USA, against not just big league arms, great big league arms.
Logan Webb, and the second one off of lefty Gabe Spire, one of the top left-handed pitchers in all of Major League Baseball.
And you know, when you have a big game, everybody wants to talk to you, right? Reporters, TV folks, and they wanted to talk not only about the home runs, but also about this. 2 outfield assists in the ballgame.
Very strong and accurate throwing arm. Fundamentally, very sound defensively.
Oh, and guess who else wanted to talk to him? That's a pretty cool moment there for Lucas with Aaron Judge.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. He arrives at the judge's verdict right there. Great shot, one that I'm sure he'd like to have for a long time.
All right, now Mexico. We've only seen them once. Obviously, they do look a lot better, but that game against Great Britain was a tight one.
It was a very tight game, and it showed a couple of different facets of what Mexico can do. One, that they can hit the long ball. They have some thump in this lineup. Jarren Duran, Randy Arozarena, Alejandro Kirk, Jonathan Aranda. But defensively, this was the biggest play. 6th inning, Randy Arozarena, known for the big moment. Terrific throw, 1-hop strike to Alejandro Kirk to cut off the potential go-ahead run.
But it was still tied late until Jonathan Aranda, the Tampa Bay Ray, knocked that one into the Crawford boxes. And of course, they're a party on the field, and they're a party off the field. And with more on that, here's John Morosi.
Thank you, Rich. I'm very pleased to be joined tonight by about 30,000 of my closest friends. Yes, an even bigger capacity crowd is expected tonight than what we had 2 nights ago when Team USA played this very same Brazil side, and no one should be surprised. Mexican fans were arriving to this stadium as the Italy game ended earlier today. It's been a party inside and outside, of course, building up to tomorrow's US-Mexico tilt, but this game matters a lot for Mexico, which feels so comfortable in this venue. Mexico outfielder Alejandro Osuna told me earlier today, this feels like home to them. Yes, sure, it's not in Mexico, but it might as well be based on the noise. Yuichi Matsumoto, the manager of Team Brazil, says he likes it when he's in a venue where the other team's fans are loud and passionate. Well, Yuichi, I have some good news for you. It's going to be that way here at Daikin Park tonight. Taijuan Walker starts for the home team. He honors his mother, Nellie, when he pitches for Mexico. he does that tonight against Brazil in the World Baseball Classic.
There is Osvaldo Carvalho ready to roll. Brazil, the visiting team here in Houston tonight against Mexico. High volume fans are these fans of Team Mexico.
Yeah,
many have come from a long ways away to watch their team.
Yeah, this feels like a home game from Team Mexico. You could feel the tension building during batting practice. Mexico so close to making the finals in 2023. They feel like they have a big shot, a much improved roster. They have one of their top pitchers going tonight, that being Philadelphia Phillies right-handed pitcher Taijuan Walker.
And this is the lineup that he'll face. Ramirez in the leadoff spot. Carvalho hits second. Leonardo Reginato is at third base. Gabriel Gomez. Vitor Ito, the shortstop. Lucas Rojo. Victor Mascai in the seventh spot has homered in this classic. Gabriel do Carmo and Gabriel Maciel at the bottom of the Brazil lineup. Not a lot of hits, not a lot of runs, and they're facing a major league arm in Walker.
Yeah, Taijuan Walker, 33 years old. The guy has a 4-pitch mix. Last year with the Phillies, ERA a little bit over 4. He's pitching a variety of roles for the Phillies. Seems to pitch better out of the starting rotation. Signed a 4-year, $72 million deal with the Phillies in December of 22. He'll be a pending free agent at the end of the year, so he has a lot to pitch for in 2026.
Some of you may just be dropping into the World Baseball Classic, and you might not know Lucas Ramirez yet. You know Randy Arozarena from his exploits with the Seattle Mariners and the Tampa Bay Rays. Mexico is filled with major league stars and major league arms. Brazil, though, with prospects. And this is Manny Ramirez kid Lucas, and he is a prospect. He's 20. South Florida is home. As we showed you at the outset, 2 home runs against Team USA. Walker misses up, and it's 2-0.
Off of 2 really good pitchers, Logan Webb and Gabe Spire, one of the top left-handed relievers in all of Major League Baseball. Big part of that Mariners bullpen, which is really good.
Also 2 outfield assists. Walker, they've been waiting to use him, and this is game 2 for Mexico. High fastball, he chased it. It's 2-2. Works the count full. Scott Berry, a major league umpire, is behind home plate. You have umpires from all over the world, from different federations, different countries. And Ramirez stays alive. It's 3-2.
Really good pitch there from Taijuan Walker. You'll see that from more experienced pitchers. 3-2 changeup, one of the things that Lucas Ramirez, being a young hitter, he's awfully aggressive. Taijuan Walker trying to feed off that aggressiveness, try to slow him down with a change of pace.
He's aboard.
Well, let's take a look under the hood and see what Taijuan Walker features in that package of pitches that he has. He's got a pretty good arsenal. He'll throw that cutter about 30% of the time. Really good split finger. He'll use that as his changeup. He'll sink the 2-seam fastball. Has a good slider, a 4-seamer, and a curveball to go along with it. A really good 5-pitch mix.
Now Carvalho, and he lines it into right center field. Charging in is Thomas. It lands in front of him. Late start by Ramirez, and he's out. He's 20, but a base running error early.
Really good decoy here by Alek Thomas. He kind of lulls Ramirez into thinking he's going to make the catch. Ramirez pulls up, and he's thrown out by a couple of steps at second. See off the bat, he gets a good read on it. Thomas does a good decoy job, and Ramirez gets kind of caught in no man's land halfway.
Leonardo Reginato, a couple hits in the 2 games that Brazil has played. They lost to Team USA 15-5. That game was tight up until about the 7th inning. And they lost to Italy 8-0. And now they're facing Taijuan Walker.
You have a guy behind the plate, Alejandro Kirk, that really controls the running game. Really strong throwing arm.
The bat goes farther than the ball. Statcast probably picked up the bat rather than the ball.
Yeah, that was a really good pitch by Taijuan Walker. That's an example of that 2-seam fastball. He'll throw 2 different fastballs. He'll throw the 4-seamer that rides in, and this 2-seamer tracer ball blows up that bat. That bat won't live to fight another day.
Walker is one of 2 starters for Mexico. Javier Assad of the Cubs got game 1, and that's an issue for Mexico. They lost Taj Bradley right before the Classic.
Yeah, looking ahead to tomorrow, big matchup. Mexico plays Team USA. It's shaping up to be a bullpen opener type game for Benji Gil and Team Mexico,
which sometimes can be problematic for a lineup to face.
Lots of different looks as a hitter. You're very rarely going to get a chance to see the same pitcher in back-to-back at-bats.
Reginato fouls it at the plate. The goal for the teams here in Pool B, get to the quarterfinals. And to do that, you have to be one of the 2 top teams of the 5. For Brazil, they want to win a game. That means if you win a game, you don't have to go through qualifying to get to the next World Baseball Classic.
With that said, they have a big game tomorrow against Great Britain. More than likely, that game is going to decide who will be able to come back to the next World Baseball Classic in 2029.
That's a big deal, because along with that comes funding, more momentum in your country for the sport. Ask Great Britain, who did that in 2023. 2-2. It's down low. Mexico does have a deep bullpen, and they have one of the best arms in all of baseball at the back of it.
Yeah, Mr. Munoz. Benji Gil, it's a race to get to that back end of the bullpen. Munoz, elite closer for the Seattle Mariners, lurking in that 9th inning.
Runner goes, liner foul, which means in the matchup between Mexico and Team USA, you've got high octane on both backs of the bullpen.
Yeah, arguably the 2 best relievers in the sport. You have Munoz from Mexico. Mason Miller was throwing 102 miles an hour last night. So 2 bullpens set up pretty well towards that back end. Had a chance to get a glimpse of Team USA last night. Powerhouse pitching performance, 17 strikeouts. Tarek Skubal started that game. 17 strikeouts and no walks for Team USA. They did it with pitching in the long ball. Kyle Schwarber hitting that big home run in the 5th inning yesterday.
Runner goes, a little looper on the right field line. Duran is after it, and it's foul. When you're outmanned in a World Baseball Classic game, as Brazil is here, and we've seen it across all pools, across all these tournaments, you've got to do little things well. And teams have a tendency to run, to bunt, to just try to scratch out runs.
Yeah, that's the dilemma that Matsumoto has with this Brazilian team. You try to push the envelope, be as aggressive as you can, but you also don't want to run yourself into potential outs or innings.
Major League Baseball rules are in place here. That's 2 throws over to try to get Carvalho.
Look at Aranda with his tag, catches him right across the right jaw area. Fortunately, wearing that batting helmet.
If he goes over another time and doesn't get him, it's a balk. He's running again. It's fouled again.
Boy, some good at bats so far from Brazil. Running that pitch count up. 18 pitches so far for Taijuan Walker. 65 pitches is the limit you're allowed in this go-around in the WBC. So you try to be as economical with your pitches as you can.
Ramirez saw 7 pitches. This one hit out into center, hit pretty well. Thomas on the run, and he's there, and he makes the catch.
Yeah, this is a good ballpark to hit in, but from a pitcher's standpoint, if you can keep it in the alleys in right and left center field, it's 409 feet to straightaway center field. You've got to hit one pretty good to get one out of here from left center to right center. The ideal place is the Crawford box seats in left field. It's a short porch in left field. Jonathan Aranda, there's the deepest part of the ballpark. 409, and hitters love hitting this ballpark with that big batter's eye backdrop.
Gabriel Gomes, young Brazilian, he's just 21. Spent 4 seasons already in the Reds minor league organization. And he finds himself hitting cleanup against Taijuan Walker. Twenty-third pitch, and it's fouled back. Mexico has plenty of arms, but they don't want to use them a lot tonight because of that bullpen game you talked about.
Yeah, if you're Benji Heel right now, you're hoping you can get some length out of Taijuan Walker. You're hoping in a perfect world to get 4 innings.
Carvalho has had like the busiest inning of anybody at first base. He's been running numerous times. Counts 2-2. Ten foul balls so far. Got him. Long inning, 25 pitches. Mexico gets their first swings coming up. Team Mexico now, bottom of the first. Brazil, Mexico. This is a day-night doubleheader here in Pool B. That's a strike. Italy beat Great Britain. Entertaining game earlier. 7-4. Italy's 2-0. USA's 2-0. Mexico is 1-0. Jaron Duran. Eric Pardinho.
If you're Pardinho, you really want to try to stay aggressive in the strike zone. Much like the Team USA lineup, there's a lot of star power in this Mexico lineup.
And the little guy with a beauty of a changeup and a strikeout.
The dreaded equalizer. Here's the lineup for Mexico. Duran, Randy Arozarena, Jonathan Aranda, familiar face, Alejandro Kirk hitting into cleanup spot, Tellez, Alvarez, Nick Gonzalez, Thomas, and Joey Ortiz.
Nacho Alvarez also homering with Aranda in game 1 for Mexico. Here's Arozarena, who whatever the spotlight is, it seems like that's when he shines the brightest, whether it's postseason in Major League Baseball or in the World Baseball Classic. Because 2023, he had an outstanding World Baseball Classic. He slugged .900. He made 2 enormous catches in Miami.
Has the flair for the dramatic. Came up with a big play in a 1-1 game in Mexico's first game. A big assist throughout what would have been a go-ahead run through a strike, a one-hop strike to Alejandro Kirk.
Two and two. Major League hitters are used to seeing right-handers who are usually about 6'4", 6'5", downward plane. Pardinho is listed at 5'10".
Originally signed with the Toronto Blue Jays when he was just a teenager. Big signing bonus.
Two. Aranda's on deck. Arozarena, a dive and it's by him. The Sky couldn't get it. It's a double. That's the look.
So many ways that Arozarena can beat you. He can beat you with a glove, but he's more known for beating you with that bat. Has a flair for coming up. Pardinho tried to sneak a fastball on the inner third by him. He beats him to the spot. Really good effort by Mackay right there. He just can't quite get it in a stand-up double for Arozarena.
Aranda drills one, right field, off the wall. Arozarena will score, and it's a loud single. Chance for Aranda. I mean, it's early, but we get the idea. He's had a great series so far.
110 exit velocity on that one. A guy has great plate coverage. Came up with a big hit. The big home run in Game 1 for Team Mexico. Broke that game open. Doesn't get any easier here. Toronto Blue Jays all-star catcher Alejandro Kirk.
This is the best friends part of the lineup, right? Aranda and Kirk at 4 years old were buddies and started to play baseball. Their dads were the coaches together in Little League in Tijuana. And they were teammates on the All-Star team, and now they get to be teammates here. Deep. That's off the wall. Aranda is racing around third. Coming home. Scoring.
It hasn't taken long for Mexico to start flexing their muscles. This is the lineup that can score runs and score them in bunches. We had a chance to talk to Benji Heel before Game 1. As good as that 2023 team was, it was so close to getting to the finals. He feels that this team might have more firepower and they're much better suited defensively in the outfield.
Yeah, remember, Kirk didn't play in 2023. Aranda is better as well as a hitter in 2026. Andre Rienzo, the pitching coach for Brazil, with a quick visit. Brazil doesn't want to go to their bullpen because the biggest game they're going to play is tomorrow. And they have two guys who have started games who are available to pitch tomorrow, Bo Takahashi and Enzo Sawayama. Rowdy Tellez got all dressed up and now has to trot down to first.
Yeah, what makes it hard, too, the pitch clock that is used in Major League Baseball is kind of hard to slow. When a team starts to get momentum, the game can get away from you awfully quickly.
Nacho Alvarez. It's a fastball for a strike. Alvarez, Braves prospect, 5th round pick. 4 years in the minors, is at 281. Good on base, at 400. And he homered in their first game. First and second, still one out. One and two.
Good breaking ball there from Pardinho. This Mexico team, awfully aggressive swingers. It's going to be paramount that he can command some of his secondary pitches.
Go good.
Backs that breaking ball up with a changeup. It's hard to get Team Mexico off that fastball. They like to hit velocity.
They were somewhat of the surprise team in 2023. They beat the U.S. They didn't just beat them, they beat them decisively in Phoenix. Then they beat Puerto Rico in the quarterfinals, and the people took note. Wow, they're in the Final Four, and they had to play Japan. They had Japan beaten, and then gave up 2 runs in the 9th and lost that game. Japan, of course, would beat Team USA in the championship with Ohtani striking out Trout. That very easily could have been a Mexico-USA rematch. Little dribbler. It's a fair ball. The throw down to second. That's one. Everybody else is okay at the corners. That was an athletic move by Ducarmo.
Yeah, heads up play. The ball bounced out in front of home plate. Able to cut that lead runner off at second base. You see Ducarmo right here. Gets rid of the face mask. Throws it off that back foot. A nice pick there by Rojo at second. Going through a series of signs right now in case the runner, if they want to throw through or have a pump fake to try to catch. I wouldn't imagine that Alejandro Kirk is going to stray very far away from third base.
Nick Gonzalez now, a Pittsburgh Pirate out of New Mexico State, grew up in Tucson, and teammates at New Mexico State with shortstop Joey Ortiz. And here they are, teammates again in green. Breaking ball on 2-0, and it's 2-1.
starting pitcher when you're facing a lineup like this is the ability to get your breaking ball or changeup over when you're behind an account. Good pitch there by Pardinho.
Two runs across at the corners. With 2 outs, the 2-1. Little looper, that's going to find right field and chase home another run. Kirk will score. Alvarez holds at second, and it's 3-0.
The importance of putting the ball in play with 2 strikes. Teams that do it successfully, the more pressure you put on the defense. This ball wasn't hit very hard, but it was hit in the right spot. Just a little flare right between first and second base. Rojo can do nothing but just try to corral it. Keep that runner at second base.
This is the 8th hitter.
This is another element of speed. Alek Thomas runs very well. Part of that very athletic outfield for Team Mexico.
Thomas in the big leagues, known for his speed and defense. Patrolling the outfield, the center field spot, and doing it as well as just about anybody in terms of range, going gap to gap for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Bullpen starts for Brazil.
That pitch count starting to climb on Pardinho. He's thrown 25 pitches. Still trying to get out of this first inning.
Two-one.
Good changeup. Try to get back into the count.
Mexico's schedule: USA tomorrow night, Italy on Wednesday night. Top 2 of 5 get to the quarterfinals. There is a scenario where there's 3 teams at 3-1. Soft line drive, that finds left field. Round third coming home. Alvarez safe.
Aggressive send by third base coach Tony Perez-Chica. You're kind of playing with house money with the lead. You force the issue. Take another look at it. Giacomo might have done himself a disservice. He was behind home plate when he caught that ball. He left that lane open.
And now Joey Ortiz in the 9 spot. Thomas an RBI single. And again, Brazil would like to not have to really deplete the bullpen in this game. Right. Strike to Ortiz. 1 for 3 with a double and an RBI in the Classic. Ortiz fouls that back. One of his Brewer buddies is having a terrific start to his Classic, Bryce Turang.
Hitting down the bottom of that order, hitting in the 9th spot. That's how star-filled that Team USA roster. That big bases clearing double in game 1 in the 5th inning for Team USA. good problem to have if you're Mark DeRosa. You give Bobby Witt Jr. the night off last night, and all you do is insert Gunnar Henderson as your shortstop.
Hit hard on a hop. Ito flips, gets the out. And the long inning for Pardinho finally ends. 4 runs for Mexico in the first. Back in Houston, Taijuan Walker back to work. Vitor Ito, shortstop, takes a strike. Brazilian baseball is a blend of Brazil and Japan. A great influx of Japanese immigrants brought the sport of baseball to Brazil. And their manager's a perfect example of that. Yuichi Matsumoto, who's born in Brazil, played in Japan, is a bench coach still in Japan, but has been the national coach for Brazil as well. Roller up the line, and it's foul.
Really important if you're Taijuan Walker. Just delivered his 29th pitch. You often hear pitchers talk about those shutdown innings. Team Mexico pushed across 4 runs. You'd like to keep the momentum in your favor. He's pitching a variety of roles for the Phillies. He's done some great work starting. They've used him occasionally out of the bullpen.
That one fouled back to the screen.
Thought basketball was going to be his calling coming out of high school, though. Great build for a pitcher. Big, strong guy.
Long wait. 1-2. Foul ball. Benji Heel has won a ton of big games. Winter ball internationally. Took him all the way to the Final Four in the World Baseball Classic. He says those games are easy to manage compared to these games because there's so many constraints on a manager in terms of usage, whether it's a starter, whether it's a reliever, whether it's a position player coming from their major league teams.
Yeah, we talked to Mark DeRosa about that before game 1. There's some restrictions that are placed on your relievers, how often you can throw them, how many pitches. The same thing with the starting pitchers. So there's a lot that goes into game planning, not just the X's and O's, but who's available and when are they available.
Having just the 2 starters for the 4 games, though, is eased a bit by their schedule. They do have some off days in between, which has helped. Ito just won't go away. He fights that off. Walker's up to 36 pitches.
65 is the limit you're allowed in this round of the WBC. What a terrific at bat. Lays off that 3-2 breaking ball by Ito.
There's been 17 foul balls already. JP, what you got? I know Brazil is such a fascinating blend in their dugout.
They are. Alan Thomas is their strength and conditioning coach, and you may recognize the name. There is his son, Alec. Alec all over the box score already tonight. 2 sterling plays in center field in the first inning and an RBI single as well. I was keeping an eye on Alan in the dugout. Not much of a reaction when his son was doing great things against the team he's working for. And there's a look at the 2 of them beforehand. A family experience. Alan very proud of his son no matter what jersey they happen to be wearing at any given time.
Thank you, John. If you haven't watched one of our telecasts, Jon Morosi is the biggest source of World Baseball Classic and international baseball news, stories, rules, all of it. And a swing and a miss. Lucas Rojo.
I think you and I, Rich, are going to self-appoint him as the master, the premier master of the World Baseball Classic.
I'm out.
And, you know, it's not just the World Baseball Classic. And John, this is something that the casual fan and even the real diehard baseball fan doesn't realize. These games in the World Baseball Classic have Olympic implications.
You're right, gentlemen. And first of all, thanks for the kind words. You're both amazing teammates. It's been great to work with you and great producer Keith Costas and director Ben Johnston on these telecasts. But you're right. This is the beginning of the road to LA 28. The top 2 finishers among the Americas, which includes Mexico, the top 2 finishers have their tickets punched to LA. Of course, Team USA doesn't need to qualify. They already are in as the host nation. But among Mexico, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, all these nations in the Americas, there is a lot at stake right now for 2 years from today at the Olympic Games.
Not a lot of tickets to be punched. What is it, 6 teams in the Olympics?
Exactly, 6 teams total. The U.S. has 1, so just 5 remaining bids to the Olympic Games.
It's Willy Wonka-like. Kirk fires in time.
Well, that's one of the things that Alejandro Kirk does so well. The cool thing about the game of baseball is good players come in all different shapes and sizes. You look at Alejandro Kirk, you wouldn't think he could bounce around as quickly and as well as he does. Gets rid of the mash, see the hands up. He tells Taijuan Walker to get out of the way. That's a difficult play that he made look really easy. You get a look at it from the third base angle. Puts his hand up to wave Walker away. Make sure that he doesn't run into Taijuan Walker going to get it. Terrific play by Alejandro Kirk.
He always has reminded me of if Kirby Puckett was a catcher.
Similar kind of hitter too. Elite bat to ball skills. One of the best bad ball hitters in all of baseball and a terrific 2-strike hitter. You could get 2 strikes on Kirk. It's the third one you have difficulty getting by him.
He's really worked at his skills behind the plate. Lined into left field. That's a Rosarena, and that's the 3rd out. Brazil makes a little noise. Mexico 4-0.
Quarterback on a football field. Watch Alejandro Kirk. Bounces out, gets rid of the mask. Hand up, telling Taijuan Walker, I got this. And a nice throw to Aranda at first base.
Top of the order. All 9 came to the plate in the first, and Duran lines one. That's right field. That's gone. His dad loves it. Dad is in the green there. Got the sombrero. The luchador mask was popular in Game 1.
Yeah, if you're watching this one at home, this is what Team Mexico can do. This is a really well-rounded offensive team with some bump. From the right side and the left side. And you add a guy like Alejandro Kirk into that lineup with elite bat-to-ball skills. This Mexico team is to be reckoned with.
A good example of how much better they are than the 2023 version. Duran's a better player. Aranda is a better player. Kirk is here.
Well, I think the thing that jumps out to me the most in talking with Benji Heel, they're just so athletic in the outfield with the Rosarena, Thomas, and Duran. Their outfield defense, there's a good look at this swing right here. This was a no-doubter. Duran has a lot of thunder in that bat, a line drive, and Pardino had a good look at it. There's the proud Papa right there in the green Mexico jersey, loving it.
That's awesome. Duran from Corona, California, in Southern California. So after a Rosarena, here is Aranda. By the way, that shot of Kirk coming out, Blue Jays catcher, made me think of Buck Martinez.
Yes.
Buck Martinez announcing his retirement as a broadcaster from the Blue Jays. Blue Jay catcher, Blue Jay manager, Team USA manager, and he absolutely loves this event. And I'm sure he's watching as many games as he can. And if you're watching, knocked down onto first. If you're watching, Buck, everybody wants to say hello.
Actually played for Buck Martinez when he managed the Toronto Blue Jays. To this day, I joke around. He brought me into a situation where he walked the bases loaded. I had to face Jason Giambi with the bases loaded. Was able to get out of that mess, but a lot of my hair started turning gray when I saw him walk out from the bullpen. Well, potentially walk the bases loaded to bring me in.
Well, Buck beat you to it as far as the gray hair.
But he's still got a full head of moss going on.
It's the best hair.
Not a better head of hair in Major League Baseball than Buck Martinez. Talk about a guy that loved the game of baseball, not only as a player, but a broadcaster. So many great years broadcasting Blue Jays baseball. He'll be missed in Toronto.
Yeah, well, look, he's missed it in this event as well. I had 3 World Baseball Classics with Buck, 2 in Japan, and then Phoenix in 2023. And Buck Martinez in Japan is a kick. I'm telling you, he'll take you down at like 4 in the morning to the fish market to see all the fish coming in. We toured the Mizuno factory and watched how they made the baseball gloves. Chopper. Ito. In time. Mexico adds a run. Jarren Duran. Yeah, way to go, Dad. Everybody's swinging it well tonight for Mexico. Jarren Duran, a solo homer. Taijuan Walker back to work. The trumpeter is playing now here in Houston. Gabriel Maciel fouls it off.
Only thing negative so far for Team Mexico, that pitch count running up there a little bit. That'll be the 49th pitch. Pitch number 50 on the way coming from Taijuan Walker. Only allowed 65 in this round. So he's going to have to be a little bit more economical with those pitches.
By the way, we dug into the vaults. You want to talk about great hair and a great man? There he is. A little pop-up. And caught there by Alvarez. Yeah, he was so much fun. That was Phoenix in 2023. Here comes Lucas Ramirez.
The last name sounds familiar. Yes, the son of Manny Ramirez. Product in the Angels minor league system. Athletic outfielder, strong throwing arm. As you would expect. Very good baseball skills. Some thunder in that bat too. We talked about it earlier. Hit 2 home runs in game 1. One off Logan Webb, the other off Gabe Spire.
Swing and a miss.
Taijuan Walker pulling the string on a young, aggressive hitter. Going to that changeup. Like a lot of young hitters, they hit off the fastball.
Hey, how about this after the game?
This is a picture I'm sure that young Lucas will want to keep for a long time. Doesn't get any better than that. Aaron Judge meeting with young Lucas Ramirez after that game 1.
Carvalho now hitting second, the Brazilian.
Getting back to Aaron Judge, I thought the other night after the Team Brazil victory, young Contreras, 17-year-old with a big arm from Brazil, was able to induce Aaron Judge into an ending 5-4-3 double play. Was throwing 96, 97 miles an hour and had nothing but glowing things to say about Contreras. There's a good look at him right there. This guy's going to pitch in the big league someday. Coming from a guy like Aaron Judge in the day and age where so many star players, they're stuck on themselves and they don't give a lot of credit to the other side. Thought he said something great. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. He said, I couldn't imagine being 17 and pitching in this type of an atmosphere. This guy has a bright future. Son of former big leaguer Jose Contreras, member of that 2005 Chicago White Sox World Series team.
Only in the WBC do you have two guys like that who are prospects, uber prospects. And this guy, who's a construction worker who plays baseball at night in his native Brazil. Rosarena there, makes the catch. Carvalho is out number 3. Mexico's rolling. They're up 5-0. Juice in this building last few nights. Team USA, and you got Mexico here tonight. And when those two teams play each other tomorrow night, this place is going to be jammed. Tellez busts his bat, and he's going to beat it out. Stop the presses. Rowdy Tellez with an infield hit.
Look at all the teammates in that dugout loving it. Couple of strides past first base, he looked into the dugout and had that smirk. I don't think on the way to the ballpark on the team bus, Rowdy Tellez had visions of an infield single. Big smile on the big fella's face. Benji Heel even loving it. There it is, the swinging bunt. Look at Rowdy. He's going as fast as he can go.
Nacho Alvarez here. An illustration further on how much better Mexico is right now. Joey Meneses was like their star guy in 2023. He hit the 2 home runs, including a 3-run shot to finish USA in Phoenix. He is on the roster. We haven't seen him yet. And I think a big part of that is Aranda locking down that first base spot.
I'll tell you what's more intriguing about tomorrow night's matchup with Mexico and USA. Paul Skeens takes the mound for Team USA. Well, if you're Mark DeRosa, you go Tarek Skubal in game 2 and you back that up with Paul Skeens in game 3.
You pointed out an inning ago how much Mexico likes velocity. They're going to get their fill.
Yeah, that's a different kind of velocity, though, Rich. It's the kind that moves and it darts up, down, in and out. I tell you, a guy that was lost in the shuffle last night, Clay Holmes, pitched 3 terrific innings for Team USA. He pitched so well, he didn't get to that pitch limit. He went out after he pitched the 3rd inning and threw a few more out in the bullpen. Holmes was awfully impressive last night.
1-2 pitch coming. JP, you've got more?
It would never be described as a problem when your starting pitchers go too deep into the game, but Team USA is finding itself in, shall we say, an interesting position because they're piggybacking pitchers. So Michael Wacha in game 1 and then Holmes in game 2, as Dan documented. They've pitched so well and so deep into the game, but they haven't had to use that bullpen.
That's a crisp 6-4-3 double play.
I believe the plan tomorrow is Matthew Boyd will be piggybacking off of Paul Skeens. So you start a righty that's a power guy and you go to a lefty and Matthew Boyd Boyd was terrific last year for the Chicago Cubs. He's another great story. A year and a half ago was trying out. Guardians took a shot on him. He pitched so well down the stretch and parlayed that into a multi-year contract with the Cubs.
JP, did I read right that Tarik Skubal worked out with Team USA today?
He did indeed, Rich. And remember what we were talking about yesterday. I'll believe that he's done pitching for Team USA when I see him in Lakeland, Florida with the Tigers on March 17th, which is the day of the gold medal game. Until we get to that point, and Skubal is somewhere that's not by then Miami, if the Team USA ends up making it there, then I'll assume he's done. But you and I spoke with him. He is having a lot of fun with this team. Worked out with them today. He is in no rush to leave.
So in other words, JP, you're saying you'll believe he'll be back in Lakeland until he's not back in Lakeland.
Exactly. I'm going to wait until there's visual confirmation on this. You and I both know, Dan, Polk County, Florida is a lovely place to be, but he's not going to hurry back from this amazing atmosphere to go back to Lakeland.
1-2 pitch to Gonzalez. Popped it up. Back behind first. Carvalho is there, and he squeezes it for the third out of the bottom of the third. Into the fourth in Houston. It's 5-0 Mexico. Tomorrow night, it's a rematch. 2023. Joey Meneses started the party in Phoenix. Randy Arozarena, one of his 6 doubles in the WBC, and that was the big blow. The 3-run shot, the bat flip by Meneses. Rowdy Tellez got in on the action. This was an 11-5 beatdown by Mexico on Team USA. And Team USA is better than they were in 2023.
Yeah, this may be the last hitter for Taijuan Walker. This is pitch number 63. You're allowed 65, but in the middle of an at-bat, you can continue through this at-bat. So this will more than likely be his last hitter.
Leonardo Reginato. Ground ball. He may be able to get one more. Just it's perfect, right?
See if
64.
Benji Hill wants to push the envelope here.
He can start this at bat. He's coming up. Benji Hill, world champion with the Angels. He's an infielder. Highly, highly regarded as a manager, whether it's for Team Mexico or in the winter leagues.
I think right now he wants an honest answer. How do you feel? You want to try to stretch this? No, they're going to the bullpen.
Mexico makes a pitching change in the fourth with a 5-0 lead. Night.
Sometimes the hitters just don't cooperate. 23 foul balls led to Taijuan Walker having to come out of this one after 3 1/3. Couple of walks, 3 strikeouts.
And Roel Ramirez takes over.
Yeah, he replaces Jose Urquidy. He placed Urquidy on the roster. The key for the relievers, particularly when they get their first action in the WBC, coming right from spring training or working out, try to pepper that strike zone. You're asking a lot of these pitchers this early in March to have the mix of their pitches under control. A lot of pitchers get to spring training, they want to work on command of the fastball, and the secondary pitches you try to get better as spring training goes along. But you get in this environment here in this short tournament span, you need to ramp it up, and hopefully you have a couple of pitches you can go to. You had a conversation with Tarik Skubal the other day. He wasn't sure if he was going to be ready to approach that triple digit. area, but boy, he was impressive last night. After that leadoff homer, controlling the strike zone. I'm just amazed when I watch him pitch. The amount of power that he has, but yet the control that he has. His strikeout to walk ratio a little over 6-1 the last couple of seasons. Very rarely do you find a blend of a guy that's overpowering and yet can command the strike zone. Reminds me a little bit of a guy like Pedro Martinez, Roger Clemens, John Smoltz, Kurt Schilling, guys with powerhouse stuff, but they command the strike zone.
And it feels like for Skubal, too, in the postseason, he's done his part. 9 starts, a 2.04 ERA, 56 strikeouts, and 6 walks. I mean, there's only so much a starting pitcher can do. That's a walk to Gomez. Benji Hill, even the Luchador, are thinking about who's going to throw, how many pitches are they going to throw, and who will he use tomorrow night. A little jam shot, and that is caught. Nice play there by Aranda, who was a middle infielder for a lot of his baseball career, so being able to go back and make that catch is not new to him.
Ball not hit particularly hard, but an over-the-shoulder catch. Similar to a receiver in the National Football League, going in that corner of the end zone and having to corral one of those floating passes.
Rojo. I mean, from Brazil, who is probably the biggest underdog in this pool, to the very top teams, Mark DeRosa, Team USA, Benji Hill with Mexico. You can lay out your best laid plans in terms of who's going to pitch, when you get the tournament. Oh, I'm going to save him for this team. I'm going to save this guy. And then the tournament starts and it all goes to you know what.
Yeah, I think one of the distinct edges that Team USA has, not only when you have a starting rotation like they do, but they have the depth in the bullpen. And they have reverse split guys, the lefties that can get righties out, and that's so important with the 3-batter minimum.
That ball's hit pretty well from Rojo. Arozarena has it. Brazil looking for their first hit still. 5-0 Mexico. Nothing. Mexico on top of Brazil. Sometimes it's tough to see the phone through that mask. Thomas, Ortiz, Duran, Eric Pardinho settled in. He had just 10 pitches in that 3rd inning. He's at 50 pitches.
Tell you what I'd love to see before the night's over. JP with that stick mic on the field with that luchador on, doing an interview in game with somebody from Team Mexico. JP, if anybody can pull it off, it certainly would be you.
Dan, I'm not sure if I'm worthy of the luchador mask, but if it is bestowed upon me, I will do my best to honor it.
Now look, there's 4 sites and there's 20 teams, which means there's a variety of home run celebrations in the World Baseball Classic. And the luchador mask we saw early in the first home run by Mexico. Then we saw the sombrero, which was their tradition in 2023. I'm so tickled by Italy and the espresso machine in the corner of the dugout.
Yeah, Vinny Pasquantino was able to get that situation under control after the first couple of homers in game 1 for Team Italy. A couple of the guys went down there to chug that espresso, and it was boiling hot. Was able to get that temperature under control.
0-2 over Pardinho into center field, and Thomas has his 2nd hit. Great Britain has a nice tradition. Harry Ford, who has a tendency to homer in the World Baseball Classic. The red coat for the King's Guard.
Look at Pardinho, a little disappointed. Well, your reaction time, though, you're delivering the ball to home plate and all your momentum is going forward. You know what's coming back at you, but you just can't get that glove up in time, or at least try to deflect it so that an infielder might have a play on it.
There's nuance to tiebreakers in the World Baseball Classic. John Morosi is always our source for that. And those tie-breaking formulas always involve the teams that are involved in the tiebreaker, correct, JP? So a game for Mexico against Brazil, how does that figure?
If it's a tie among Mexico, Italy, and the U.S., this game would not figure at all. So if one assumes that the best chance of a complicated three-way tiebreaker would be among the U.S., Mexico, and Italy, in that respect, we haven't seen anything yet because it's about to begin tomorrow night. Think of it as a three-day tournament among three teams for two spots, and especially among those three games, if you happen to be ahead, you better keep adding on. If you're behind, you need to keep the game right where it is and spend the necessary assets that you require to do so. So that's why you might wonder, why is this move being made, a particular manager pulling a reliever here or putting in a player there? It's because almost in that soccer mindset, when total goals can matter, it's the same mentality here.
Hit hard into right field. Ortiz has a hit. Thomas on his way. Ramirez another throw. This one is wide. And Ortiz slides into second.
Another example of why Benji Gil feels this 2026 version of Team Mexico is better than the 23 version. A lot more athletic. Some speed at the top and the bottom of the lineup. Ortiz loving it. Little first to third action. Alek Thomas easily getting from first to third.
Now Duran. Left side of the infield is in. Right side is back.
Getting back to talking about the pool play, one of the things that might work in Team Italy's favor, their two best starting pitchers they've yet to use, Aaron Nola and Michael Lorenzen. The way the scheduling has worked out, it's set up really well for Team Italy.
Check swing down the line and sliding, no catch. 2 runs are going to scamper home.
A terrific read by Joey Ortiz.
That's going to be a 2-run double for Duran on a slide. Victor Mascai had it lined up, but he couldn't make the catch.
Almost an excuse me swing from Duran. You see him go a long way and hits off the heel of the glove. That play is right in front of Joey Ortiz, who was at first base. Look at the wheels there. He's already almost at third base. Picks up 2 runs batted in, and Duran happy about it.
Yuichi Matsumoto going to make a pitching change. Eric Pardinho's night is done, and Mexico has stretched the lead to 7-0. Their end of their first game, the start of this game, Mexico is clicking, and Arozarena with Duran at second, nobody out. Gabriel Barbosa. That's ball 1.
Pretty good numbers between A and AA last year. ERA 3.62, like that strikeout to walk ratio. 69 strikeouts to 29 walks.
Is it any surprise that Arozarena is the most popular Mexican player, not just with the fans who are watching, but the fans that are here? I mean, he developed that Randy Land in Tampa Bay. Seattle is absolutely in love with this guy.
Well, I think the thing that makes it so engaging from a fan standpoint, between innings, he'll walk down by the wall area here in left field. When he catches the last out of an inning, he certainly always throws the ball up into the stands. Has a good relationship between his team and his fans, and they love him for it.
Barbosa was one of those Brazilian relievers who had control issues against Team USA. He hit Byron Buxton, who is okay, by the way, if you hadn't heard that update.
Right, hit on the forearm area, Mark DeRosa told us. It got him in the meaty part of the forearm area.
Aranda, a strike.
Game for Brazil, Team USA. Brazil issued 17 walks in that game against Team USA.
Oh, 1. Why do they call it issuing walks? You don't issue a strikeout.
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to have to talk to JP about that. You asked me about the word razzmatazz last night.
You don't issue a hit by pitch.
The English language, Dan, is a beautiful thing. And when it links up with the great game of baseball, you get particular things, such as there are those of us insiders around the month of July when they say this team should trade for Dan Plesac to improve their bullpen. We don't say improve, we say bolster. Why? Well, because we do. We just say bolster your bullpen.
Oh, you can keep going on, JP. That's music to my ears. Those are days long gone by.
Well, are you done bolstering? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, you're building up. I tell you what, you're building up my resume here.
You're all bolstered out?
Hey, listen, all of us that spend time on Baseball Reference know that when you queue up that list of most appearances in the history of Major League Baseball, our colleague's name is right up there near the top.
Two is outside. Oh, look, you hear that every sport. Basketball, hockey, football, baseball. One of the biggest assets of any player is availability. And despite a late
reliever,
despite a late night last night with a day-night doubleheader, you were available for a noon game today. And that says something. Aranda swings and misses. Everybody on our crew, just a tip of the cap. This is day 3 of day-night doubleheaders. We've had some long nights and some short mornings.
Yeah, what makes it easier, though, on day 3, we've gotten a chance to see all these teams, and when you can visually put that in your Rolodex, watch a pitcher throw and know the repertoire that they have, it makes it a lot easier. Day 1, you're kind of relying on that research packet and video, trying to get all the information and data that you can.
Kirk an RBI double back in the first. Barbosa looks better than he did the other night. Two and 0, but on the corner. That's the only Major League Baseball rule that's not around, is the ABS Strike Challenge, which is in spring training and is coming on opening day. Duran at second, Arozarena at first. Kirk hits that one to left center, and it's deep. Maciel looks, gone! 3-run shot.
Elite, and I mean elite bat-to-ball skills. As good a bad ball hitter as there is in Major League Baseball, this guy can get the barrel to a baseball with the best of them.
416 feet. He did a lot of that in the postseason. He had 5 postseason home runs in that incredible postseason run by the Blue Jays from their dramatic win over Seattle in Game 7. And yes, even the painful loss in extra innings in Game 7 to the Dodgers.
Credit the Toronto Blue Jays, too. They signed him to a long-term contract. And there were a few people around the game of baseball that were a little surprised that the Blue Jays had the confidence that Alejandro Kirk would bounce back in 2025 and be the offensive player he was a year before that, and he far exceeded that. You talk to anybody around that Toronto Blue Jays team, the pitchers love throwing to Alejandro Kirk. Strong catch and throw guy with a productive bat that he swings.
Roller, and Rojo on to first to get the out.
Yeah, Rowdy wasn't smelling an infield single on that one, Rich. Once that one was hit straight up second base.
He made a big jump in his bat speed. And, you know, Turang was another guy who made some adjustments to his stance, and all of a sudden, the bat speed just went way up.
Yep, 5 home runs in the postseason in 2025. Alejandro Kirk for the Toronto Blue Jays. Well, that was some World Series. Blue Jays Dodgers games 6 and 7. I don't know if you can get more dramatic, the twists and turns that those 2 games brought.
And it felt like the Blue Jays had won the game a couple of times in Game 7, and even the Dodgers, such a seesaw. And then we saw Will Smith last night, the Smith home run.
Boy, you never know when a rising star, Trey Savage. Blue Jays, I think, had visions of him being a part of their bullpen when they called him up in September.
Into the bat, and a soft single for Nacho Alvarez.
Made a start in Tampa, that being Savage. Next thing you know, he pitched his way into that starting rotation. Unique arm slot for Savage. The highest release points in all of baseball. Good look at Nacho Alvarez, hit the big home run in Game 1.
Pitching change for Brazil. 10-run lead for Mexico.
Back to Houston, where we have some news tonight. A fresh pair of Las Botas de Poder have arrived, which is great news for Randy Arozarena and the Mexican national baseball team, and less auspicious news for everyone else. And here he is, Rich and Dan. This is mid-inning. This is not pregame. This is mid-inning. Randy Arozarena, a man of the people. He is so warmly embraced, as you certainly know his story. Born in Cuba, defected to Mexico. He's made his home there. He's a Mexican citizen. The country means so much to him, and they make sure that he knows how much they appreciate his willingness to represent their country nationwide and beyond.
JP, as the story goes, he picked up the phone and called a very high official in the Mexican government and said, hey, I want to become a citizen.
Even better.
Into left field, Gonzalez with a hit.
Here's the story. He reached out to then Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador on Instagram. He said, I want to become a citizen of your country and play in the World Baseball Classic. And our colleague Adam Berry did a great job writing about this at MLB.com. This file was then forwarded to the Mexican Foreign Affairs Secretary, Marcelo Ebrard, who then became a good friend and confidant of Arozarena. expedited the application, and then we had some amazing memories in the 23 Classic as a result. And of course, he's here now 3 years later. I mean it sincerely. Fans were here chanting Arozarena's name an hour before the first pitch next to the Mexican dugout. Their love for him is limitless.
I assume the president liked the post.
Oh, I think it got a like and probably many more likes than that. And certainly then President Lopez Obrador, known as a great baseball fan, a big fan of the Astros when they had Jose Urquidy on the team here as well. So no doubt watching this tournament carefully as well.
Marostica misses outside. Joel Marostica. Yeah, the World Baseball Classic. We were talking about just his postseason numbers and his WBC numbers, and they're just unbelievable.
Yeah, he has a flair for the dramatic. The bigger the stage, the better he plays. Very important member of that powerhouse Seattle Mariners team.
Three-one pitch, and the bags are loaded. Thomas on his way to first.
This is the issue that Team Brazil had in their initial game against Team USA. You start going to that bullpen. They don't have a lot of major league experience. They're trying to get this lineup out. Doesn't get any easier. Joey Ortiz, another good player with the Milwaukee Brewers.
He singled earlier in the inning. That's a wild pitch. It might score more than one. DeCarmo picks it up. Just one run comes across.
You try not to lose sight. If you're Yuichi Matsumoto for Brazil, they have a big game tomorrow against Great Britain. So they have an eye on this game here, but they have a bigger eye on a game tomorrow. Winner of that game will automatically be eligible to the next World Baseball Classic.
And he's going to go with the two pitchers who have started games. They are eligible to pitch. And those right now, he for the word that we got, are the guys that Brazil is probably going to line up against Great Britain.
Pretty good pitch right there. Good take by Ortiz. Catches the bottom part of the strike zone. Another deep count, 2-0. Runners at second and third and 2 outs.
Earlier in the Classic, when Marostica was having trouble throwing strikes, he got a very demonstrative visit from his manager, Yuichi Matsumoto.
Couple of steps out of the dugout, threw his arms up in the air. What are you doing? Throw it over the plate.
You look like the Brazilian Lou Piniella. That's in the air. Is that going to hit something? I think it did. We've had more balls off of girders than once in a while you get it in some of these stadiums. But here in the Classic, I think I've got 4 in my count.
I'm going to continue to push that we get JP to do a hit in game from one of those rafters up there. Even better if he has one of those luchadors on, right?
Knew you were going there.
Comes out in a parachute with a World Baseball Classic emblem on the parachute.
Chopper to third. Reginado on to first. The runner's actually out on his way to third. Went out of the base path. That ends the inning. Mexico, Alejandro Kirk adding on. That's a big sombrero. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the World Baseball Classic may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Big party tonight. Big crowd for Mexico. tomorrow night, there won't be any seats empty. 3 defensive changes if you're scoring with us at home. Nishiyama now in left. Hayashida behind the plate.
Going to be an early turnaround for Team Brazil. Noon Central Time start. They'll square off against Great Britain. A game of huge importance to both teams. Winner of that game eligible for the next WBC without having to go through that qualifying round.
Felipe Karaji, I believe, is in somewhere as well at third base. Marastica getting Alejandro Osuna.
You know, from a pitching standpoint too, Rich, not an easy thing to do if you're Marastica. Ensure that the players are fully aware of the significance of the game tomorrow. Might be one of those games where you're out there where you're going to be stretched to the limit. Try to save as many of those high leverage arms as you can for that game tomorrow at noon.
Osuna to right. Lucas Ramirez is out there still. He makes the catch. Bottom of the 5th here, 11-0. Mexico on top. The run rule reads, if it's by 15 and 5 innings, game over. If it's 10 by 7, game over.
You really couldn't have it scripted any better if you're Benji Heel, manager of Team Mexico. Taiwan Walker gets you into the 4th inning. This game seems like it's a little out of hand. He shouldn't have to go to any of his high leverage relievers. With tomorrow night's game, it's so important against Team USA. Will be starting Paul Skeens.
As you see, Julian Ornelas gets the at bat, and he whacks one foul and out of play.
Good opportunity too to give some of the guys that are on the bench some at bats. You never know when you're going to need them. Mexico feels like they're going to be in this Pool B all the way to the end, and there's some important games. You look at the back end of the schedule, it could be a very important game later on. Mexico and Team Italy.
That could be a play in the game there. One and 2 to the pinch hitter, Ornelas. They just got a piece. Joey Meneses is on deck. Ornelas, 29 years old, born in Tijuana. Look out. Benji Heel, I believe, is from Tijuana as well. And Ornelas plays on that great team, the Charros de Jalisco. In fact, he was the Mexican Pacific League Final MVP. They repeated as champs in January. Then they went on to win the Caribbean Series. And he scored the winning run in the bottom of the 10th on a wild pitch. The dude raked. 581 slug, 19 homers in 82 games. If you're not doing anything next winter, maybe you and I should go to Jalisco.
The way the winners shook out in the Northeast, that's not a bad idea. You won't have to do a very difficult sell job on me. A week ago, 18 inches of that fluffy white stuff in northern New Jersey. I grew up near the Chicago area in the Indiana-Illinois border in Gary, Indiana. And if I'm being perfectly honest with you, Rich, if I never see snow again, as long as I live, I'd be perfectly happy with it. I'm not into snow skiing, polar bear hunting, any of that kind of stuff. Give me some palm trees and warm weather and some smooth putting greens, and you'll see one happy camper.
I have a daughter in Massachusetts right now, so I feel that pain. All right, JP, you can weigh in now.
Well, I certainly want to weigh in on Ornelas because of what he was able to do during the wintertime for the Charros de Jalisco, as you mentioned, helping them win a championship in both the Mexican Pacific League and the Caribbean Series as well. He spends his summers with Los Diablos Rojos de la Ciudad de Mexico, the Mexico City Red Devils. And this is a player, I think, in Ornelas who, in the pre-contracted minor league baseball, would be at AAA at least with the team. He's got a very good bat, obviously very good patience as Meneses steps in here. So Ornelas to me is someone that has been a little bit underrated through the system, and now has a chance on a big stage, works a very good walk. He could be a key player for Mexico now going forward.
Little chin music up and in to Joey Meneses. He doesn't like it either.
Look, Maristica had control issues his first appearance, and they're continuing here. Meneses, a chopper out towards short, out there, and the relay to first not in time. Alexis Wilson is going to get the at-bat now, as Mexico going to give everybody an AB that they can, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. And a strike to Wilson. "29-year-olds. Catcher. That would be a wild pitch.
Yeah, you can see as these pitches are starting to mount up on Maristica, starting to lose command of the strike zone. You get a little tired, that arm starts to drop. You lose that release point. It's so important as a pitcher, that touch and feel to maneuver the ball around the strike zone.
Wilson, a veteran, and he's played for Benji Heel in a variety of places. Takes inside. It's 2-2. He had a couple of hits and a couple of RBIs against Great Britain back in 2023. He's played for Heel in the Tokyo Olympics. He played for him on the Tomateros de Culiacan in the Mexican Pacific Winter League. Tomateros, sorry. That's smacked down the corner. That should be extra bases, and that chases home the 12th run. And Wilson slides into second with a double.
Yeah, Team Mexico adding on 12-0 Mexico. A lot of thump in this lineup. Cautiously optimistic was Benji Heel before game 1. We talked about his personnel, and he really thought this version, the 26 version, was a better suited all-around team, particularly defensively in the outfield. You know, as a manager, you're always trying to be a little bit, try to keep it tempered down. But I think deep down, Team Mexico, they feel like they've got a chance not only to get out of this pool, but to do some damage long term in this baseball classic.
Tellez, that's foul. JP, question for you. Why hasn't Benji Hill had some consideration as a major league manager?
He's had some interviews. He was actually interviewed by the Padres a couple off seasons ago. I think he'd be a great major league manager. And one of the many ways in which he excels is that communication. And we touched on the story of Ornelas earlier in this half inning. He has trusted Ornelas, and Ornelas has rewarded him with the performance, as I mentioned, during the course of the wintertime with Los Charros de Jalisco. So it's that relationship that Benji does such a great job of cultivating. And winter ball is not easy to manage. Rosters, you've got changing all the time, coming and going. Benji Hill, in my view, belongs managing in the big leagues.
Mexico adds on. An even dozen now, 12-0.
We have a party here in Houston. The national team of Mexico is winning, and the fans are singing El Rey, the great Mexican standard by Vicente Fernandez. This is a song of celebration for the Mexican people, common at Mexican soccer games and certainly here at the World Baseball Classic. Guys, I've got goosebumps here sitting at field level, hearing the tribunes, the songs all flowing through the stands. It is an experience, and it'll go up. The song will go up, the noise will go up one full octave or more tomorrow night at right about now.
Oh, that's going to be fun. USA against Mexico. Rematch from 2023. Armenta facing Osvaldo Carvalho in the 6th.
Solid year last year, ERA 3.47. His job right now, command the strike zone. Good fastball, 97 miles an hour.
Changes all over the place. One note, the third baseman. That's Mateo Gil. Yep. The 3-2. He was a late ad, and his father, Benji Hill, happy to put him in the lineup late in this ball game.
Terrific fastball from Armenta right there. 98 miles an hour from the left side. Team Brazil, you better dial it up. Boy, just a dart right down the middle of the plate. Look at that full extension, four-seam ride on it.
Mateo Gil is 25 years old. He's born in Newport Beach, California. Benji makes his off-season home in the Dallas area. JP, it's a nice moment here.
It's a great moment. And for Mateo, who, as you mentioned, went to high school in the Dallas area, he has always felt so connected to Mexican baseball, not only because his father has managed him, in fact, in the Mexican Pacific League, but because of what this means to his father, to his family's story. Mateo was telling me earlier today that as a Mexican-American, that representing Mexico internationally for him has always meant the most, because he believes that winning a championship with this team in this event would mean more in Mexico than to any other country at this point. Japan, of course, has won it multiple times. The Dominican Republic has won it once. The U.S. has won it once. And he believes, Mateo does, that if Mexico wins it, it will be an enduring triumph that is celebrated for generations for Mexican sports, in the way that Americans have talked about the Miracle on Ice or the Dream Team, that it's one of those celebrated moments. And certainly 3 years ago, Rich, Mateo was sitting where those fans that we talked about singing El Rey a few moments ago, he was sitting with them in Florida, because he was actually at that time a Mets minor leaguer, and he drove from Port St. Lucie, from Mets camp, to attend the quarterfinal and semifinal game there in Miami. So he goes from being a fan to now, of course, being a player, standing at third base for his father's team, for his family's national team, Mexico.
You know, that story that you just told is, there's a lot of players that were down in Florida, minor league players, prospects, who went to those games in Miami. Roman Anthony actually has a good story about buying tickets with some of his Red Sox teammate prospects, minor league guys, and they loaded up the car and they drove across Alligator Alley, and they were in the ballpark to watch Ohtani punch out Trout. Here's Ito.
Yeah, this World Baseball Classic, the last 2 or 3 go-arounds, has just generated so much more momentum. And when you have guys like Ohtani and Aaron Judge, Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens that want to be part of it, it's turned into a premier event in the world of baseball, and it's helped grow the game of baseball globally as well.
Mexico!
0-2 pitch. Ito knocks it into right field. And stretching it all the way to third is Karaji.
Come out!
Good piece of hitting there by Ito. 0-2 breaking ball from Armenta. Ball intended to be down and away. It kind of hung up in that inner third of the plate. See, this ball stays in the inner third. He was able to barrel it up, hit it between that hole between first and second base.
Lucas Rojo now. 2 outs here. Alexander Armenta in. JP.
It's a really interesting visual right now. Ito and Meneses standing at first base. Ito works for the Hanshin Tigers as a Spanish and Portuguese and Japanese language interpreter. Of course, Meneses from Mexico. So here you have 2 players from vastly different backgrounds standing at first base. I'm quite confident having a conversation in Spanish at this beautiful game. This picture in front of me right now is the essence of why this tournament and why baseball and the fellowship in the sport is so great.
0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Armenta finishes Brazil in the 6th. 3 outs away from a win here is Mexico. Bottom 6 with a 12-run lead. Mexico needs just 3 outs and to keep at least a 10-run lead to win this ball game. More importantly, to end this ball game. Fastball is up.
Yeah, Maristica is that guy, another replacement.
Mizukosi out and right. Trying to get starters off their feet. Both have games. This is Mateo Gil getting the at-bat. He pops it into left. And it's caught there by Nishiyama.
Both of these teams have their sights on Monday. Brazil, big game at noon tomorrow with Great Britain. The winner of that game eligible for the next World Baseball Classic. If you're Mexico, you want to get a good night's sleep. Big one tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. It'll be Paul Skeens and Team USA against Mexico.
I expect Mexico to throw the entire kitchen sink out of the bullpen to try to win that game. We told you that Taj Bradley was going to be one of the 3 starters and had to pull out And so Benji Hill has just the 2 starters, one of whom started tonight, Taijuan Walker. The other, Javier Assad of the Cubs.
Assad threw the ball really well in game 1. Solid pitcher with the Chicago Cubs. Got better as that game went on.
Strike to Nick Gonzalez.
I think the cool thing about tomorrow night's game, you have both teams that are rested. Both teams kind of, the way they had dissected this thing, how they thought plan A would work. It's worked so far for Mexico, and the same with Team USA. This place is going to be jumping tomorrow night. I can't wait to get here.
2023 in Phoenix, probably 60% of the crowd was wearing green and red. The other 40 red, white, and blue. And it was one of the most amazing atmospheres, environments for any sporting event I've been around. That place was lit. And we showed you the highlights early in the show. Joey Meneses had 2 homers, and the second one just brought the place down.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Aaron Judge will be greeted. A lot of the Astros fans, not big fans of the Yankees, and there was a little scattering of boos during the introduction for Aaron Judge. Be curious to see what kind of reception he gets tonight. If the fans here in Houston rooting for Team USA, they're going to be on board. I would say my gut feeling is yes. They expressed their feelings in game 1, but I think in game 3, we're going to see a lot of red, white, and blue.
Pitch misses outside. Look, it's hard to say they don't play each other every year, but man, that game in 2023 was lit. They both ended up in Miami, and they both knew they were going to face each other here, and they could face each other again. That ball's deep. Alek Thomas, that ball's gone.
Well, this is what Mexico can do.
That's his father.
Loving life right now. Watch your son trot around the pillows.
Oh, he's got a new hat. It's a great moment. His father, strength and conditioning coach, long time of the White Sox, serving as Brazil's strength and conditioning coach. Pitching change. Mexico needs one more run to end this game.
We are one swing away from an early termination win for Mexico. No matter what happens tonight, this will be the scene tomorrow. Mexico and the U.S. and the handshake that didn't happen. You see Randy Arozarena approaching home plate. He greets umpire Alan Porter, tries to greet Will Smith, but he was left hanging a little bit. And that tells you what type of vibe we can expect here at Daikin Park tomorrow. Team USA has met Mexico 4 times in World Baseball Classic history. Mexico has won 3 of them, all in a row, since that time in 2006 when Mexico knocked out Team USA from the tournament. We don't see this matchup as often as we see it in soccer, but when they meet in baseball, the noise is amped up, the fans are ready, and they're already singing Cielito Lindo a cappella here in the stands to get ready for tomorrow night.
We'll be here. Vitor Takahashi is going to take over. Now there they are, the 2 buddies on the rail. Jared Cerna gets the at-bat.
I find that Jonathan Aranda, Alejandro Kirk, can you imagine your childhood friends, age 4 and 5, you find yourself about 20 years later standing in a dugout about to stare down Paul Skeens and Team USA tomorrow night?
They work out together in the offseason. That hits the home plate umpire. Usually there's a little bit of dialogue there, like, hey man, you gotta catch that ball.
Boy, that would look like it was straight left shoulder. Didn't even seem like he got a glove on that one. You're expecting a ball down and away, and a pitcher rides one up and in.
Cerna, now the umpire thinks it hit Cerna. I don't know from that replay that it did. Did it? Let's see if it clipped the pad. Oh, yeah.
Off the deflection.
Yep, that's pretty.
Catches him, fortunately, under that throat guard.
Osuna now gets his second at bat. He is flied out. 14 runs, 15 hits. And if the runner scores from first, it's a walk-off win. Because Dan is walking off.
Be 15 runs after 5.5 innings.
It's a big zone. Into center, and there's the second out. Now, if Mexico does not score a run here, they just need 3 outs in the 7th.
Without giving up 5 runs.
The best part is you said that with a straight face. Ornelas. JP says his name better than I do. Ornelas. JP, what do I need better? Ornelas.
Ornelas. Ornelas.
Ornelas.
You're doing a great job.
Ornelas.
It's a little. There's not 2 R's, just one. So it's Ornelas.
A little roll.
It's like a mini roll. Mini. you roll the R when there are 2, or at the start of a word, you give a little more of a roll. Like the biggest roll was when there's 2 at the beginning of the word, like Rodrigo Lopez, the GM of the team, and you give it more of a roll at the start, and then when it's in the middle of the word, it's like a light one.
How many languages do you speak, by the way?
Well, Rich, I am often flummoxed by English, but so I'm still working on that one. But my Spanish is okay, and my Italian is also decent. So this basically, as soon as these pairings came up, I had to tell our coordinating producer, Chris Pfeiffer, I need to be in this pool. I need to be. Okay, we've got the U.S., Mexico, Italy.
Oh, there it goes. Ornelas. Walk off. Ball game. Mexico. Let the party begin.
Well, we've seen just about everything from Team Mexico. Strong starting pitching from Taijuan Walker. They brought the thunder.
And to quote Dwayne Kuiper, let's go home.
Perfect way to end it. Big matchup tomorrow night. Paul Skeens, Team USA against Team Mexico. 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. The big one will arrive tomorrow.
Just awesome. This party will continue tomorrow night.
Well, here's the big swing. The game ender. No doubter. Deep in the gap in right center field, and with one swing of the bat, Mexico gets what they want. A date with Team USA and Paul Skeens.
A 16-0 win and a walk-off home run. One day of baseball here in Houston.
Yes, it is. And look at the fans from Mexico. They don't want to leave this ballpark. The celebration has just begun. This place is going to come unglued tomorrow night.
You better believe it. Mexico is now 2-0. Italy is now 2-0. USA is now 2-0. The next 3 days are going to be incredible.
Yeah, this pool is shaped up, if you're looking at it from a talent standpoint, about the way we all expected it to go. Mexico, Team USA, and the scheduling is set up really well for Team Italy. They have their best 2 starting pitchers have yet to pitch. Aaron Nola and Michael Lorenzen. This 3-team trifecta has a chance to be a barn burner the next few days.
Well, you know, 16-0. Benji Hill will take it. JP Barossi. I think everybody's ready for tomorrow night to start.
What a night. I'm not sure anybody's coming home. I think they may just stay here. The songs keep going. We just spoke with Jarren Duran a moment ago, and he had the perfect words for this, which is, unless you're here, you don't really know how to describe what it's like right now. What it sounds like, what it feels like, the intensity, the way in which everyone really is just celebrating this spectacle that we've seen tonight. This top to bottom outstanding Mexican lineup, and beyond that, what's going to happen tomorrow night. So, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure today, and I think I might stay here tonight. I'm not going anywhere either. This is too much fun.
Well, hold on to your sombrero. We've got a noon game tomorrow as well, and that is a big one because Great Britain and Brazil are both 0-3. Whoever wins that game doesn't have to qualify again for the next World Baseball Classic. So there's a lot on the line there, and then obviously the nightcap tomorrow night. USA and Mexico, the rematch from 2023. What a night this was. You knew Mexico was favored, but what a party, what a vibe. We're back at it at noon tomorrow. For Jon Morosi, Dan Plesac, and our entire MLB Network crew, 16-0, Mexico.